Hello and welcome to another episode of I Think I Hate Movies. I'm your co-host John.
And I'm your co-host Ray.
And we're here to talk about movies and what we like and what we don't like and all kinds of stuff. So, first of all, I want to thank all the listeners from last week. We appreciate it. If you guys, like I said before, if you have any suggestions or whatever, we will throw that email address at you at the end of the pod so you can get at us. Tell us what you like and what you don't like. And just help us out. Let us know what's good. We listen. We appreciate it. So, try something a little different this week as well. We're still kind of sussing out what this podcast is going to be, and it's still malleable at this point. But I just wanted to talk about something that's relevant, and something we did kind of touch on last week, which was Zack Snyder and his new project. And I did get a little tangential. I kind of went on a crazy tangent at the end there, but I guess the point of that was, I really was kind of hoping there was a little bit of hope in me that maybe his new movie, Dawn of Justice, was going to be okay or something that you could enjoy, or that audiences could enjoy, or that critics could enjoy.
I feel like there's probably a word for the feeling you're describing.
False hope?
Yeah.
Or masochism?
Oh, maybe it's naivete.
Okay. I think you're right. Because, lo and behold, this movie has been reviewing horrendously. Absolutely abysmal scores. And, I don't want to pay too much credence to, weird, dumb, arbitrary internet scores. And, then you get this kind of visceral tribalism online and people yelling at each other, but regardless, as of right now, as of this recording, it sits at a Metacritic score of 44 and a Rotten Tomatoes score of 29%, and both of those are out of 100. So yeah, it's getting critically panned. It's making a ton of money though. But personally, for me, the silver lining here is that hopefully directors like Zack Snyder, who make the kind of movies he does, will kind of get the message that, you can make your movie as loud and as shiny and nice looking as you can, as money can buy. But if there's nothing else there, if, structurally being held together by a story that's the equivalent of a house of cards, we're not, audiences, critics aren't going to really stand for that, and you can only take that so far. And no, I'm not dissing on a house of cards. I'd watch that show before I watched any Zack Snyder.
A castle in the air, maybe?
Yeah.
Is that the expression? I think that's the expression.
A moving castle?
Not that castle.
No.
I think it's a Swedish expression.
That sounds right. Yeah.
It's too many bricks and it just all falls down.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds right.
His straw house that he built on the side of a volcano.
Yeah, there we go. Let's make our own.
Yeah. But then the volcano explodes in slow motion.
And there's this cool filter
yeah.
over the movie. Yeah.
And it's super sick.
Wait, I think this is a Pierce Brosnan movie.
You're not wrong. And with that leads us into our first movie this week. So, another thing real quick. You can only really speak on the technical aspects of a movie so much. And I like doing that. I enjoy that. I don't know how much everybody else does. But like I said, we're still kind of feeling out what this podcast is as of right now. So for this one, we're going to try to focus a little bit more on some thematic constructions and kind of maybe a little more kind of outside information, maybe, you know, influences that the films are drawing from and have had. So anyway, speaking of Zack Snyder, this is it, I swear. We're not going to watch any more Zack Snyder movies. This is the last Zack Snyder podcast.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Hopefully. I want it to be. I want to stop talking about Zack Snyder. Is what I'm saying. Okay, so he put out the movie 300 a couple years back. So we watched 300. And I want to say maybe this is kind of the embodiment of him as a director and kind of the genesis of where this started and like how he's gotten to where he is today. So this is a movie based on a Frank Miller comic of the same name, and it's about King Leonidas of the Spartans taking 300 Spartans to fight the invading Persian forces who have come to conquer all of Greece. And this is, I would say, loosely based on facts and battles.
Yes, it is. It's based on the Second Persian War.
Right. So, I mean, story aside, this really isn't the important thing, or I would say important, but this isn't really the predominant thing in this movie, would you say?
It's hard to say what the predominant thing in this movie was. I feel like, yeah, I guess the main thing would be their code.
Mm-hmm. So it's like a David and Goliath story if David were 301 xenophobic assholes, and then Goliath was a weird, bad caricature of a mixed race army that has nothing but bloodlust. Actually, both sides just have a bloodlust.
Right. The movie's kind of like it was trying to be a military loyalty movie, but it's so pathetic on all fronts that it's very difficult to resonate in any sort of way.
Yeah, absolutely nothing about this movie resonated with me.
But it is somewhat true to the Spartans, so I guess that is okay. I don't know. I don't want to say it's okay. It's definitely not okay, but...
Well, like, for instance, where do the Spartans stand in history, as far as, like, Greek history? Like, they're known for their armies, right?
Right, that they're a military state, basically. The men and women lived separately until their 30s, because men were in barracks, and they had to stay there even if they were married. They had to, like, sneak away to be with their wives and stuff like that. And it was, yeah, very much like a whole entire country that was focused on brainwashing their male youths to be soldiers and their female youths to be child rearers or baby makers, technically.
Yeah, which is telegraphed in the beginning of the movie.
A little bit.
Yeah.
They don't emphasize the pride in fulfilling those roles, because that weird scene where they like lead him away, young Leonidas, from his mother, who's also his aunt, I think, technically, or something like, or cousin? I don't know. His dad's niece was his mother.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah. And yeah, when they leave, it's supposed to be a source of pride when they become like a soldier, so she should have been like, yeah, you go boy, or something stupid, because that's what a big theme of the movie was, but it wasn't reflected in that scene because there's also like 2 female characters that emote in the movie. There are other female characters that move. There's only 2 that emote. Like only one that speaks.
Like move physically?
Move their face.
Move their face, okay. That counts as something. In a Zack Snyder movie, that's basically emoting. Right? So, the gods have deemed the attack on the Persian army, they have deemed that blasphemous, and they shan't attack during the
Carnea.
The Carnea.
The Olympic Games.
Right. Was it?
That's Carnea.
Was that what it was?
That's the Carnean holiday, but that was a bribe to the Ephors.
Okay.
Placed by the Persians.
Right.
The Ephors, who are also in this game monstrous people.
And what were the Ephors in real history?
They were like monks that attended to the oracles. They were but they're also uniquely. I think they're uniquely Spartan. They're only in the Spartan oracles because the main oracle was at Delphi, which was in I think Athens. I don't think it was in Sparta. But the Ephors were like sub-senators or equal standing with senators, but they were elected from the common people. So a lot of people didn't trust them already. And they don't get into any of this in the movie at all.
Of course. So they're kind of like half diplomats, half religious figures.
But what they
or politicians, I should say.
They were frequently associated with being corrupt, and they do show that in 300.
So politicians.
Yeah, but they're elected by the people, whereas like the Senate wasn't really in Rome or in Sparta.
So like real politicians.
Okay, yeah, let's go with that. They're like real politicians.
Right, and then the oracles were these virgin women, young women that are like perpetually smoking dust.
Taking some drugs and having some visions.
Right, they're having visions. So yeah, they say, no, Leonidas, you can't go on your murder fast. But he does it anyway.
Yes.
Yes. We're talking strictly the movie, you know.
Trying to.
Right, yeah. Factual information aside.
I'm biting my lip, just so you know, listeners.
Okay. It's true. I see it. There's blood everywhere. It's gross. So that leads us to a series of scenes and battles that kind of happen, and there's no consequence or stakes or anything.
There's a lot of huddles. There's a lot of like powwows that they do before the football game.
Yeah, Leonidas likes to get very sanctimonious and get on his high horse, and actually doesn't have a horse.
Just an amazing diaper.
Just a diaper. And occasionally a helmet.
That appears out of nowhere. It must be from the diaper.
Right, that's where they kept those. Yeah.
Maybe it's a chastity belt that's dual function, and he keeps it in the diaper, and then he pulls it out. And
I don't think they had chastity belts.
They could.
I'm gonna go ahead and say
they were a very strict military society. Like I said, they had to live separately from their wives until they were age 30. It could have been a chastity belt. It could have explained half the faces they were making through that whole movie.
That's true. That is true. And the over-aggressive, just machismo attitude.
And all the bronzer.
Yeah, testosterone city. So yeah, I don't know. Stuff happens in this movie. People die. It looks really stupid and dumb and whatever. This movie's bad, but I only, I watched this because, like I said, it was kind of relevant.
It was super relevant. It's a Zack Snyder movie based on a Frank Miller comic book.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the beginning of a horrible series of events.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because he did this, and then he did Watchmen, and then he did Superman.
Sucker Punch is in there somewhere.
I don't think that's a DC property.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Strictly superhero stuff. So yeah, this kind of paved the road for him. And somebody at Warner loves him. But there is nothing in this movie that is likable.
I feel like I could find something if I try hard enough, but it's not happening. I liked the Goat Man. There we go. The Goat Man.
Oh, right. So the Persians are portrayed as, I don't know,
They're
fabulous? They're kind of fabulous.
kind of all over the place.
I kind of like the villain, the Persian king, God King. Besides his weird voice modulator, he's kind of a fucking crazy looking guy.
It would make so much more sense if the Spartans won in the end and this was like a big fish story that they're coming back and, I guess the guy who's supposed to be Plutarch or something, because he's telling the story as told by Plutarch.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who's played by David Wenham, Faramir from Lord of the Rings, and he's got that blindfold or whatever, and he's like, yeah, it would be like someone. I wonder if maybe that is what they're. Well, no, Zack Snyder doesn't think like that.
No. Although this is based on a graphic novel, but
yeah, but it was like if it was like a big fish story, like, and then they were like this, and he was like 12 feet tall.
Right. Nah. Yeah. There's nothing. You can't take anything from this movie.
You really can't.
Of value, because there's nothing of value in this movie.
It was so bad when I saw it. I legitimately thought it was supposed to be a satire of, like, action stocky movies and taking it back all the way to Greek mythology and stuff, how that started. But then it kept going with Zack Snyder, and I'm like, oh, maybe, no, this is just what he likes. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. And let me straighten some out. I've been criticized for not liking fun, not having fun. But you know what? Damn it, I like fun. I like having fun. Movies can be fun. This movie is not fun in any fucking way. It's fucking gratuitous violence that's not well done. There's CGI blood everywhere, which is just lazy.
Which disappears,
Which
as you pointed out. And I didn't even notice that until you pointed it out, sadly. That was pretty amazing.
Like, it looks like a bad video game. The whole movie. And I get it. Like, that's his thing. Like, his movies look like bad music video games. And, like, okay, that's cool. That's your thing. That's your shtick. But when there's nothing else there. There's nothing. I don't care about his characters. This is, to be fair, this is not that kind of movie where you build these deep, rich characters and you follow them through their journey and you watch them fail and you watch them fall and struggle and ultimately they overcome an evil that is, so corrupt and powerful. But that's not this kind of movie.
Right. That's what it could have been, I guess, if it was done by a better director.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, it would kind of not be my forte. But yeah, it has that original story that it's based on. It has like that vibe of a group of loyal men who fought to the end just to be remembered by their people. It's and were slaughtered in the process against a great enemy.
Yeah, like what does hubris get you?
Exactly, it's a Greek tragedy. Right?
Dead. Get you dead. I mean, not to go off on a tangent, but like I watched the other day. I watched Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns, the animated movie, and apparently, Dawn of Justice draws a lot from that, and also in turn, this movie is based on a Frank Miller comic. So we know Zack Snyder is either a fan of Frank Miller's stuff or he just thinks it's cool, which is fine. I think it's cool too. Like, Frank Miller's not always the best writer. I love his illustrations and I love his style. That's the thing. His comic books have style. The Dark Knight story, the Dark Knight Returns story, is excellent. I don't know if it holds up now, but as a fantastic comic book, story goes, and one that takes an inherently darker tone, I think it still holds up in those regards, and those are things you can draw from, and if you're somebody like Zack Snyder, those are the aspects that you're attracted to, right? Like, he likes that kind of dark, bleak stuff. And 300 is totally that tone. But this movie is just... it's just irritating. The whole movie's irritating to look at. Oh, and also... So this kind of also sets this is the genesis of the precedent that Zack Snyder is going to take these novelizations and lift imagery wholesale out of them, like frame by frame. And it's seen in this movie, and it's later seen in Watchmen, and I don't think that's really a sign of a good director.
Good fanboy.
Sure, good fanboy. It's just when when you're praised for the presentation of your movie, when you're given a storyboard, it's hard to really put any or give any credence to that praise. But anyway, 300 is a bad movie, but I'm sure a lot of people know that. It's one of those movies that's like big dumb action. I don't know. Did you think this would have worked? Because this came out in, I don't know,
2007, 2006, somewhere in there. I feel like.
I don't know. We're not gonna fact check because, fuck that. But I don't know.
It'll be in the blog.
Yeah, 2008 or 9. I don't know. Do you think this movie would have worked? We'll say 1991.
Directed the same way?
Sure.
It is?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Because it would have been so fucking weird.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been a cult classic instantly.
Well, I mean, given the climate in the 90s and action movies. 91, I just threw that out there. But, I don't know, maybe, late 80s, early 90s when, big machismo, masculine caricature action guys were big.
No.
You don't think this would have worked? Okay.
No, because they spent a lot more time developing those characters, actually, even though it was a very shallow trope. You knew the trope because it was all there. Mm-hmm. And it was they had a lot of dialogue, they had a lot of quips, and they were always that sort of almost Han Solo.
Yeah.
Even though that's a little earlier, but yeah.
Yeah, because I almost said Gerard Butler, but Leonidas, played by Gerard Butler, he does kind of exhibit those characteristics too, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's full of himself. He's got hubris. He's big-headed. He's confident. He's cocksure. He's a dick. He's a fucking arrogant asshole.
Yeah.
And even it's played throughout his rhetoric and stuff, and the way he speaks to his troops, and the way he insults the enemy.
I think if it was all toned down a notch, it might have been more passable. Because there's something in it too where it seems like "give me more" was constantly being whispered behind the camera, because it's everything was screamed, everything, and then there's a moment of subtlety.
That's how they talk back then.
There's that moment of subtlety where he turns back to his wife before he kicks the guy into the well, and that's literally the only quiet moment through the whole movie. And every other scene there's furrowed brows and screaming and the weird snake mouth from Gerard Butler.
An awesome butt rock. Oh man, you got money for your movie and you put that shit in there? Really? You just had a guy with a fucking guitar with max distortion, drop D, just do one note? Oh man, the movie, anyway. That was the point I was trying to make. I don't think that movie could have worked in the context of any time period. Because I like those old action movies too, to some extent, and this kind of fits the bill on the surface, but the movie's just
it doesn't have
ugly.
any MacGyvering either, which was also a big thing of old action movies. They're gonna be smart too, and they're gonna do all these other things, but there's none of that. He's just all straight macho, and that's it. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lead a group of 300 men into an army of 50,000. That seems like a good idea.
Yeah. To me, this movie never feels like it's having fun, or it wants to have fun. If your idea of fun...
Fun for the audience. No fun for the audience.
Well, both, those aren't old Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. They're just fun.
Yeah.
They're dumb fun.
I feel like the actors who were making this movie probably had a lot of fun until they saw it, and they're like, what the fuck did we do?
Yeah.
But I think when they were making it, they probably had a blast.
I just, it just comes off as Zack Snyder's this, dick measuring, arrogant, ignorant, fucking 12-year-old making movies. Going, yeah, more blood, more action, more slow motion. And it's you can do that, but you need to have fun. You need everybody to have fun. You need to inject, his joy of, seeing this, gratuitous, dumb violence for no reason needs to kind of be injected. That entertainment value needs to kind of be inherently obvious for it to be an action movie that works. But it's just, I feel like it's kind of just him. He's the only one having a laugh here, and everyone else is groaning and rolling their eyes, going, "What the fuck is this? This movie's dumb, but it's not dumb, because I like dumb movies, but it's not dumb. It's just dumb. I don't know. I guess it's more apparent too when you're like, okay, you're making an action movie. That's cool. Whatever. Not. I just want to touch on this real quick. One of the subplots in this movie that was not in the original Frank Miller comic happens with Leonidas's wife, Queen Gorgo. Although I don't think she was a queen at that time. I guess she was.
Yeah, she's married to the king.
So this is more like this is evidence here that like proving my point. Like, you want your movie to have fun? Okay, have fun. Have guys spearing each other and cutting their heads off and whatever. But then he adds this subplot that is centered around the rape of this queen, and that's not fun. This subplot is fucking gross, and it shouldn't be in the movie. And I understand you want to give the female lead something to do, because she's got nothing to do the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
But the way this is written and just kind of shoehorned in there, it's fucking gross.
Especially that it was added in there.
Right. That's my point.
Yeah.
That's Zack Snyder's touch, you guys. Other than like the slow-mo and like the masturbatory action shots that he's known for, other than that, when he does something original, he puts a rape scene in a movie. Like, fuck this guy. Fuck this movie. Yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about 300. If you see it in the bargain bin at Walmart for like...
Your local Blockbuster?
Yeah, if you're at the dump, you know, going through the remains of a Blockbuster and you see it, just leave it. Don't even bother.
So, that brings us to our second movie, where Tarsem Singh, our old friend of the Cell fame, tries to do what Zack Snyder could not, or tried to, or I don't know, do what Zack Snyder did, but maybe a bit better. But I don't think Zack Snyder got the memo. This movie would be The Immortals.
The Immortals. So, this is another Greek mythos?
Kind of.
Kind of.
It's Greek names.
Mm-hmm.
And some imagery from Greek mythos.
I feel like this movie is a response to 300 in a lot of ways. I feel like it's trying to do the things that fell short with 300, as far as character development stuff.
And also cultural references and actual research into Greek history.
Mm.
Granted, it's mutilated, but you can tell where they got it from.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see, like, the burial mask that Hyperion wears in the movie. It's a neat touch.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that.
Oh, that's what that is.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's an Aegean burial mask, which I think predates the story, but it's still a cool touch that he's wearing in his armor. Like, he knows he's going to die. He doesn't care.
That's fine. He looks cool. I thought he was just, like, really into stag beetles or something.
No, that was different, and I have no idea where that came from. I think that was a stylistic touch, but please correct me if I'm wrong. That looked really weird to me.
Yeah.
Especially when it was put into the bas-relief at the end, and I was like, I've never seen anything like that in Greek art, but that's cool.
Yeah. Anyway, so this movie, follows the story of Theseus. Yeah, I said it right. I did it.
Basically.
Yeah.
It follows maybe a side story of Theseus I'd never heard before. It uses some of the imagery, like you have a guy in a bull helmet that might be the Minotaur at one point that he fights and defeats and cuts the head off of.
Stylized.
Yeah, that's the closest I can see a Theseus. Oh yeah, and he buries his mother in a labyrinth, which is weird also. So they took like a lot of symbolic imagery from Theseus myths, it looks like, and they just kind of flipped them around a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess they tried to abbreviate it into a feature-length film.
Yeah.
He did a lot of stuff. He's the Athenian Heracles, right? I think. If I'm recalling this right, because Heracles was Doric. Or am I thinking Perseus? One of those two. He's one of the other ones that he's not. Because he has armor, so you know he's not Doric. He's not like one of those 300 men. So he's got to be Athenian.
Too many Greeks. Or wait, Athenians? This is your specialty, not mine. I just want to see a cool movie with cool action and good characters and a good story and explosions. No, I don't want to see explosions.
Okay.
But,
You know what movie did have explosions?
what movie?
300.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Not this movie, though. I don't recall explosions.
We're done with Zack Snyder. Yeah.
Oh, no, there was the arrow explosion in this movie. That's right. The arrow explodes.
Oh, right. I swear we're done with Zack Snyder. I
We're
apologize.
not done with Zack Snyder.
Well, I mean, I want to be done. I want to quit you, Zack Snyder. So, Theseus lives in Athens? He's Athens?
I'm confused. I don't know where it's taking place. Mostly it took place on Crete, if I recall, in the Theseus legend. Because it was in Minoa that he goes to Crete, and he goes to Minoa, and he fights the Minotaur in the labyrinth, where he seduced Ariadne or something.
So Theseus? So Theseus is a lower class citizen. He's a peasant type. And all he has is his mother, who was taken from him by King Hyperion and his amassed army of slaves and, I don't know.
Did they ever go into his army? It's just an
know.
army.
He's got an army.
Makes a lot of Genghis Khan references, too.
Mm-hmm. So he's like, he's kind of on a revenge or a quest of vengeance.
Right, he's
throughout
avenging the death of his family.
Mm-hmm.
Or, well...
His mother.
It's not really a revenge thing either. It's more like just angry and he wants the gods to know.
Yeah, but it's revenge. Isn't that revenge? He needs to avenge his mother.
Well, I feel like revenge has this more of a hope of, like, catharsis almost.
Oh,
like,
okay.
he knows he's never going to get his family back and he's just mad and he wants... Well, I guess because maybe he wants the gods to feel the same thing, where he wants the gods' arch nemesis, the Titans, to be unleashed and fight them again on the chance of the gods being killed. So it could be like a revenge story. I don't know. Or it could just be an angry, violent rage. I don't know.
Right. It's very Greek, whatever it is. Steeped in a lot of commonalities with a lot of Greek literature and mythos. But, so anyway, so he's on a revenge quest to kill King Hyperion, whilst also being groomed by Zeus. Is that correct, right?
Yes.
His entire life to be a soldier of... sort of.
So basically, Theseus has been groomed by Zeus his whole childhood to help prevent the gods on Mount Olympus from falling to any sort of enemies, Titan or mortal.
Mm-hmm.
And to do so, he has to get the Epirus bow, which only an oracle can know the location of, and they have to, of course, unite with this oracle and do so and prevent war, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So there's a thin story there, I guess. Theseus's motivation is fairly clear and whatnot. The Oracle. So the Oracle has the ability to see visions of the future because she's a virgin, right? And then she gives up her virginity to Theseus about halfway through the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, that was the thing, is that, yeah, if that was posed differently, I wouldn't have a problem with it at all, but it's the idea that through the story in the script, the way it's written, it's like Theseus gives her the idea that her visions are bad, and I didn't like that at all. Like, if she had volunteered that information, like, I don't like these visions. They bother me. I can't sleep at night. And they make me afraid for my life all the time. But no, it's like Theseus tells her she should feel that way about her visions, and then she goes and sleeps with him. Like, you're right. Diverged me.
You're right, we can't have this plot device. We need to get rid of it somehow. Yeah, Theseus kind of planted those seeds.
Literally.
You know, yeah. So anyway, the Oracle loses her power vision. Theseus eventually gets to the city of... What is the mountain? What is it?
Tartarus. Mount Tartarus, where they're hiding the Titans.
Right.
Or imprisoning the Titans.
Right. And he somehow convinces their army to fight against Hyperion. And this is kind of the conclusion of the movie. Which is weird. It's so this movie definitely has a climax, which I think a lot of movies nowadays kind of miss. Like movies have
usually
this,
multiple ones now.
Right, exactly. Like movies have this constant struggle of like, you know, always pleasing the audience because the audience has a tiny attention span, and we always have to have flashing lights and explosions and blah blah blah, and it has to be loud and whatever. So every scene has to be the climax, but I feel like this actually has a pretty good build up to a climax if it does anything right, which it does a few things right, but anyway. Yeah, it has a really good build up, and the climax is climactic. So Theseus finally fights King Hyperion in mano-a-mano combat. And then but before that, right. Meanwhile, right, the Titans are released.
Because Hyperion succeeds in getting the Epirus bow, and he sets loose the Titans, which of course makes the gods immediately come down and try to get them back in their cage, basically. And it turns into an all-out bloodbath between the gods and the Titans, which is kind of strange, to put it lightly. Because gods are literally dying left and right, and and it's not made out to be like a metaphor for the death of mythology or anything, it's just there because of reasons.
Because we need an action scene.
And it's really confusing too, because none of the gods look like their traditional way, so you're just trying to have to guess from this weird Calvin Klein model and Ferrero Rocher clothes, or Rocher or whatever.
Yeah, that was the one thing I wasn't really into the God's wardrobe so much.
I would have been fine with the wardrobe if you could better tell what they are, and if they were acting like they were characteristically disposed to in myths. Like Athena's very subservient in this one, and also I was so excited because Athena was finally in it, and usually she's the female character that gets cut, but then she's the only female goddess in the movie that they don't have, and they're like at that final bloodbath scene. It was really cool with Artemis shooting off bows or something, or even Demeter just like wrapping people in ivy or something.
But, yeah, that's the thing. Like, Greek mythology has like a very rich cast of characters,
right? And they each have their own niche, right?
But it's so few and far between to see a movie do that with these Greek. I don't want to say archetypes; they're not archetypes, but
they kind of are, and that's kind of why I picked this film, because I expected this film to more expand on this route and make it easier to segue into a particular film that you may be obsessing over and don't want to think about too much. I thought for sure this was going to be a Clash of the Titans type movie. And
it stars Henry Cavill.
It does. It stars our Superman and the Zeus fusion with heroic Greek character that he is inspired by. Yeah. Sort of. But yeah, there was no Hades in there to be the Batman.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, you're right. Like, he follows a very similar path. You know, Theseus, his whole life, he's fatherless. Just like Zack Snyder's Superman. All he has is his mother. And he's kind of groomed his entire life to be held up as, you know, your powers are meant for good, or, you know, you have potential, there is potential in you, and this has to be used for good, whether that good be, I don't know, that good is like a very subjective thing. But it's up to him to find his kind of moral foundation and compass, and yeah, they are very similar characters. But that goes a lot with like Greek characters, right?
Right.
I mean, they're the original Justice League, in a sense.
They are, definitely. It's been admitted to by Grant Morrison. This is huge inspiration, and supposedly there's also a comic book issue where they meet their Greek counterparts. I don't know which one this is.
It's gonna be in Zack Snyder's next movie.
Probably.
Yeah, it'll be just.
But that's the thing, I don't know, because Zack Snyder seems to be a comic book guy.
Yeah,
and I don't think he goes beyond the comic book, which is also one of the interesting things about comparing Immortals to 300, where it was like, oh, we kind of went into Greek history versus we didn't go into Greek history at all, but we really liked this comic book.
Yeah, that's a little above him. Yeah, I don't know. This movie is full of holes.
It is.
It's a leaky ship, but some of the action's okay.
Yeah, but I set the bar really low for this movie because Greek mythology has a history of making really bad movies, but I actually have to include this in my top 5 Greek movies, or Greek mythological historical movies, even though it's still probably really bad, but that's just because there is not a good taste of...
So it's a low bar.
It's a low bar.
It's a very low bar.
And it's kind of teetered over it. It may have tripped and stumbled, but it made it over the bar.
Yeah, there's something inherently intriguing about Greek stories and Greek myths. But any time it is put into film, it's clumsy, or it's heavy-handed, or it's gratuitously violent.
A lot like a superhero movie is now.
Yeah, I
see where I was going with this.
Exactly. Right. It all wraps around. Comes full circle. What's old is new.
Man, I wish there were more gods fighting in this movie.
Oh man, the end. That last sequence when the gods have come down to Earth, to lowly Earth, even though they said they're not going to do that, but whatever.
They're using melee weapons, and it's like, no, you guys, you have power!
It looks pretty cool, I guess. It
does. I like the way the Titans moves.
It looks like a dumb video game, but it looks like it's having fun with it.
It does. It looks pretty. You can see, like I said, you can see tributes to actual Greek art in there. It's neat.
Yeah.
Granted, the Titans are way off base, but...
Yeah, that's why I say it's kind of a response to 300 in a way.
It's a stylized Greek mythology, but with still a little bit of honor toward where it came from.
Yeah. But yeah, that last sequence was okay, other than the fact that the gods' costumes were kind of ridiculous. Like the Alexander McQueen Macy's collection or something.
Hey now.
I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, they have fun with it. That's the thing. It was like it starts them sing, and I want to say this was in between The Cell and The Fall.
Yeah. And
this, for him, this movie's not terrible.
Yeah, actually.
It's got his signature style.
He's definitely improved since The Cell, for sure.
Yeah. Like his, a lot of his imagery is very evocative.
Yeah.
And he doesn't, in this one at least, he doesn't get super heavy-handed with like the religious imagery because it's kind of apparent anyway.
Yeah.
And it's not even subversive.
That's what he kind of does, but I like it in this because you don't see it as often with Greek mythology. And Greek mythology was a religion at one point.
Right.
So that is still religious iconography. Like I said, he's wearing a burial mask, Hyperion, and stuff like that. So it's like, it's interesting to see that.
Yeah.
In that context, because it's a different sort of religion that we don't get overexposed to, I guess. And he was reminding me of an Italian director so much in this, and I can't think of. It was from the 60s.
He reminds me of like Kubrick and Lars von Trier. In a lot of ways. Oh
yeah, there was a Lars von Trier vibe in this one for sure too.
Yeah. But a lot of his signature stuff is there. His use of speed.
It's why Hermes would have been so good in this movie.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, there's slow mo in 300. There's slow mo in this, but like the slow mo in this is like I don't know, kind of impactful when it happens because it's not every 2 fucking seconds. But anyway, there's apples and oranges.
I do wonder if we watch Immortals later, it's not as good as we think it is, but it's because we spaced it out so far from 300 that we're able to gauge it better again. But who knows? Maybe it's okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, I didn't...
I think anything after 300 will look like a good movie.
Yeah. To be honest, I didn't get anything out of either of these movies.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch Immortals. One of the things I actually... Oh, I'm so disappointed in Immortals, man. Mickey Rourke. He comes in so strong as King Hyperion in the beginning. And he is just chewing up scenery. He is like...
Literally.
Hamming it up. And literally, yeah.
He's eating in every scene.
Everything. And he's having a good time. And as the movie goes on, he progressively gets more tired. It's like he's fucking falling asleep by the end of the movie.
I don't know. I think they were trying to go with where he feels so in control of the situation, he just doesn't even care.
Yeah. I think he had fun, though. And he was definitely the best part of that movie, in my opinion. Because, yeah, he is just... he's... I don't know. He's like a low-rent Kurt Russell or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's just there to have fun, and he knows his place, I guess, in the pantheon of, like, old, worn-out... old dudes. I don't know. I don't know. He looked like he was having fun, and some of his lines are absolutely just batshit ridiculous, and I think he has fun with it. But alas, he could have had more fun. He just gets so like lethargic by the end of the movie. But yeah, I guess you're right. That could have been his character. Try again, Tarsum Singh.
I need to watch The Fall.
Yeah. I tried.
Uh-oh.
It's fine. Actually, both these directors started as music video directors.
Another weird unison.
Yeah, and it shows. Because holy shit. One went on to... I was going to say ruin your childhood, but... It's such a cliche at this point. But somebody saw something in Zack Snyder, and he keeps getting work for some reason. I don't know why. But I'm done. I'm done with Zack Snyder now. For real. I'm done. Maybe. Possibly. I want to be done. It's not even that. I want him to make good movies, but I don't think it's... I don't think it's in him. He's like a...
Oh, so you want him to get better.
I want all movies to be good. All movies have potential.
Great? Fabulous.
At least good. Let's shoot for good first.
At least good.
And then we can get to great. We gotta get to good first. But, I don't know. He's like... Zack Snyder is Walmart brand Michael Bay. I'll just leave it at that. That's something to ponder. So, anyway, I guess that'll do it. Unless you have anything else you want to squeeze in there. Yeah. Another week of Next week, hope springs eternal, I'm trying to be optimistic. I know. It's hard. It's hard. Yeah, when you're a masochist. But thank you for listening, you guys. We appreciate it. We'll come back next week with another episode. In the meantime, if you want to contact us, the email address is... IThinkIHateMovies@gmail.com. And that's gonna do it. We're gonna go watch some more movies, maybe.
Yay, Clash of the Titans.
Yay!
Yay!
The Ray Harryhausen one?
What?
The Ray Harryhausen one?
Is that the old one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got the claymation.
Bring me the tin owl. Clickety clock.
Yeah. That's a good palate cleanser.
Yeah.
For anything. Because why not?
And then we'll follow it up with the awful one. How about that? How about that?
No, I'm done with the Greeks and the fucking sanctimonious bullshit. But, anyway, thanks for listening, you guys.
What is the world?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
What about?
Yes, the world has said we're done with Greek god bullshit because, hey, guess what? Dawn of Justice? 29%. Rotten Tomatoes. Boom.
What about the Avengers?
They're not the same thing at all.
They're Norse gods.
They're, obviously. So, anyway, thanks again for listening, you guys, and we will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.